on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of The Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about extraction shooter The Cube has announced it's shutting down just 3 weeks after it launched. I mean, it passed the Concord test. It didn't do worse than Concord. So there you go. We're going to talk about Split Fiction. We're talking about GameSpot had a tweet, right? Now, obviously, the tweet is different than the actual article. We're going to talk about it, and then we're going to read the comment section a little bit, or the comments inside the tweet. Talk about Split Fiction. But Split Fiction and the studio has sold 50 million games so far with all 3 games that they've made. So we'll talk about that as well. We're also going to talk about, despite the good reviews, the first Berserker Khazan developer team reportedly dissolved over disappointing sales just days after Nexon CEO praised the game. It's like the kiss of death. Your game's awesome. Oh, by the way, we're closing your studio. Like, what is happening? And we're going to watch a video from Bellier News called Crimson Desert has broke people's brains. So we're going to watch that video as well. And then we're going to talk about, after we watch that video, we're going to kind of talk about open world games, right? Because we were talking in chat earlier about Light No Fire, Starfield, Crimson Desert, Skyrim type of stuff like that. So we're gonna have a little conversation about that later in the show. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till about noon Eastern, a little over noon. If you guys like it, we just get you through a couple hours of your day. Hit that like button. It helps us out here on this channel. We're a very small channel. We're trying to grow. We're creeping up on 3,000 subscribers. I know the loyal viewers here. You guys are here every single day. New people that are watching in the background. Maybe you come in. Maybe you see me on Twitter. Maybe you see me on Twitch. Maybe you see the podcast. Maybe you see the past broadcast. If you come on over, we do this Monday through Thursday. This is not a debate channel. This is not a Sony console or Xbox console channel. This is a get through your day, 2 hours a day, 2.5 hours a day, cover news stories, have conversations, like hanging out in someone's house, just bullshitting, and get you through a couple hours. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. What's going on, chat? Let's see who's all here. Good morning. Scrolling back up. What's going on, Sarge? What's going on, Big Mo, Water Bear, Brain Eclipse, All Turn, good morning. Dustin, good morning. Roic, good morning. Kylo, good morning. Who we missing? Wonder Rose, good morning. See, we could do this as a small channel, you know what I mean? Because if we were a big channel, I'd just be like, hey, what's going on? Thank you. Appreciate it. I do appreciate you very much for coming out every morning and stuff. So if I miss somebody, I'm still scrolling. If I miss somebody, I see Kylo cracking. What's going on? All right. So let's get to the first topic of the day, which is, I know, everyone's favorite extraction shooter, The Cube. I know you guys were playing it. I know we were all talking about it. What's going on, Mr. Z? Everyone was raving and just, they really loved this game. They were talking it up. It was beating everything out there. And then they closed. I didn't even know they released. Chat, I didn't even know this game released. I didn't even know this game existed. I remember seeing a trailer a couple months ago going, The Cube, and I kind of remember my response of, oh, another one of those, right? And here it is, right? Here it is. Let's what was it called? The Cube? The Cube. Was there a movie called The Cube? Let's see. Steam charts. Let's see what this one was doing here. Oh, yeah. Wait, is that the early access? What did it come out? Oh, Save Us. Here it is. Oh, yeah, look at that. I mean, let's be honest. It's way better than Concord. Way better than Concord. And it lasted 7 extra days. 7 extra days, right? 22 days. And now it's done. It's closed down. So there you go. So let's read the article here. Okay. The extraction shooter. Oh, if you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Extraction shooter, The Cube, Save Us, has announced it's shutting down just 3 weeks after it launched. Not to be confused with The Cube. It's The Cube, Save Us. Okay. Extraction shooters seem to be all the rage right now, What with Arc Raiders still going strong, almost 5 months, a whole 5 months, right? And Marathon, hot off the presses. Well, the genre is a theory anyway, as Arc Raiders is really the only extraction shooter to break into the mainstream. Even Bungie's stab at it, while excellent, still hasn't exploded into the full-scale phenomenon. That brings us to The Cube. Save Us, a post-apocalyptic extraction shooter developed by XL Games, which is just 3 weeks after it launched, has announced it's shutting down. Oh, shoot, that's the wrong one. You blew it! There you go. All right, there. I meant to do the cheering one. I was looking for like one guy clapping. You know what I mean? So the developer explains that while The Cube Save Us started with a lot of support and affection from the players, it will have to end its story as it officially closes a month from now. On May 8th, oh wow, it's going way past 21 days. So you got some time to check it out, at least for the sake of curiosity. But here's my thing. When you announce your game is done, why would anybody, as of right now, if you didn't know about the game, you're like, you know what? I'm going to go play it now. Why? It's only out for 3 more weeks. So it's like, why would you go play it? It's done. Do you see what happened to New World, right? New World's been around for 4 years. They said we're stopped supporting it by the end of this year, and everyone's like, yeah, I'm good. I was going to buy it, but now I'm not going to buy it because you guys are closing it down. Why would I go play your game if it's closing down May 8th? Okay, it says, quote, we once again thank our raiders who have loved the Cube. Very, very huge majority of people to thank. The Cube Save Us debuted to 5,177 concurrent players peak on Steam on March 18th, which quickly dwindled into hundreds just days later. Bad news for a free-to-play game. It's also sitting at mostly negative Steam reviews, so that certainly hasn't given it any would-be players to strong first impressions. In fact, a player with over 160 hours in game called it trash and completely cash grab. Bro, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? A person that played it for 160 hours and then calls it trash and complete cash grab. You're broke. Whoever you are out there, you are broke. Not broke with money, broke in the brain, right? To play a game for 160 hours, to then say it is trash.
At MRZ 8479 celebrates 30 months of membership.
Oh my god!
Thank you very much for the 30 months. Appreciate you. Like, this person, not Mr. Z. Okay. 160 hours. Bro, this is a person that gets in a relationship that's in an abusive relationship and doesn't know until like 6 years later. Like, what are we talking about? It says, though, I do question how long it took them to reach that conclusion. He still didn't realize it. He's like, you know, maybe this game does suck. 160 hours. What's going on, Just Enough? Jesse Mack, what's going on? Right? On that note, full refunds. For a second there, chat. For a second. I just glanced over to it. When it said on that note, I thought it said full retards, is what I thought it said. But it's full refunds will be issued for players who spent anything on the game. Okay? When they first heard about the Cube Save Us was closing down via the D-list games, my mind immediately jumped to the Cube, MMORPG made by Atomic Heart developer Mudfish. While I remained skeptical about that project, a completely different game, the jury still out on that one, right? So there you go. I know. You guys are sad that another game is closing down that you played all the time. Waterbear was just telling me about this game. He put in 106. Wait a minute. Is that? No, I'm just kidding. Waterbear didn't put any time into it. He's in Crimson Desert. I know you guys are all playing the Cube, and you're like, 30, you got to check this game out. Did anybody know this game existed? Like, honestly, did anybody know that the Cube Save Us existed? Anybody? Was the guy that 160 hours was the only person? 160 hours. Never heard of her. Altern says, I didn't even know the game was out. Yeah, I didn't know it existed. Yeah, I didn't even know it existed, let alone out. See, I think when I heard the Cube, I think what the writer's talking about. The MMO RPG type of thing, the Cube. I thought that's the game you're talking about. Waterbear says the Cube saved us existed only in the ads to me. The movie was good. Yeah, the Cube, the movie. Yeah. So anyway, you ever see that meme with Jeremy Clarkson on the Top Gear? He's just like, and anyway, and that's basically what this is, right? You just kind of move on. The Cube save us. Nothing saved you. Congratulations, though. You didn't suck worse than Concord. You made it. You made it. That's the Mendoza line, right? That's the line that you have to cross when you make a video game today. You're like, please, 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 let us get past 13 days. 13 days is the new goal. Mr. G says, wasn't it the level-changing spinning shooter I saw that the ads? I have no idea. I don't get ads, so I didn't know it existed. Jesse Max says 30 nowadays players just rage bait every single game, hate to get gatekeep out of them and clicks and views. Oh, for sure. For sure. There's people that just say stuff to say stuff. They don't even believe what they say. They just say it they're just like, hey, everyone likes that? This game sucks. They throw a grenade in there and then they just leave. And they just sit back and start reading the comment section and they just start laughing to themselves because they don't actually believe. I can't believe that they believe that. You know what I mean? I think they're just doing it just for the trolls. What's going on, PS5? As long as it beats the 13 days, it's a success. But still, lost a hell of money. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But you don't want your title. You don't want to be called, look, it doesn't roll off the tongue, Water. When everyone's like, oh, your game didn't beat the Cube, save us. That doesn't sound good. Concord just rolls off the tongue. You know what I mean? Like, man, that game's Concord. You can't say that game's the Cube, save us. It just doesn't sound right. Concord's it's perfect. Everything. If you believe in stuff in life that everything's meant for a reason, the reason they named Concord is sort of like the jet. You know what I mean? The Concorde jet doesn't exist anymore. Great jet back in the day, right? But Concord, the video game, lives on. It's sort of like Obi-Wan Kenobi. You strike it down, it becomes more powerful than it ever could be, right? Concord will live on forever as the worst game ever created financially and closing down a studio in 13 days. It's got real power behind it. Waterbear says Concord being the Mendoza line is crazy. Shirt idea. Create the Mendoza line. Call it the Concordia line. Oh, that's good. Just put the Concordia line and then just say, like, past that, success. It's like success, Concord, the Concordia line. Oh, we might do that. We'll have to come up with something. How many Concords did the Cube last? Hey, it's lasting 3 Concords. 3 Concords. It's lasting 6 weeks, I think. We still have Outriders. We do run. Yeah. Sarge says the Concorde was too expensive to fly. Do you see the irony? Yes. All right. Next story. The next story I want to talk about is this title. This is a tweet from GameSpot. Okay. This is why you can't hate media enough. Okay. This is a tweet to get interaction with, which congratulations, you got interaction with. Okay. GameSpot tweets out Split Fiction, which had double the budget of It Takes Two, has sold 1/3 the copies so far. Now, before I even click on the link, because the link is not like a hit piece or anything like that. It's telling about the company, how many games it sold, not just Split Fiction, but the game company itself, right? My problem with this is so disingenuous. One, It Takes Two's been out for 5 years. 5 years. Split Fiction has been out for almost one. We're close to it. It's like, I think it's this month, right? April, I think, is it. 1 year. Mind you, Split Fiction had sold more copies than It Takes Two in a faster amount of time. But yet this right here would make you think that Split Fiction wasn't good. Okay? Now, point proven, as we scroll down here, this guy here, Chris, with 2 S's, okay? The game looks like woke slop. I mean, I don't think it is, but the art style is so prevalent in woke slop that it just kind of put me off of playing it. Okay? Let's see what else. The only game that was single player, me and my wife, if only the game was single player. Me and my wife played it. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it more than It Takes Two. It felt like a lot more challenging. Both the storylines were also good as well. The thing is, it didn't appeal to male gamers, which are majority of the market. See, they're all talking about this game like it's a failure, but it's not a failure. It literally sold the most games that the company has seen for one of their games the fastest. It says, I blame whoever wrote the dialogue for the blonde chick. This person says, men don't want to play as 2 ugly lesbians, especially brown ones. We are over this shit. Either you give us what we want or fucking bankrupt Super Simple. These people sound so retarded and stupid because they think, again, because of this title, they are shit talking. Do you see what I'm saying, chat? Do you see what I'm saying? They're shit talking the game because they think it's a bad game because it sold 1/3 the copies of It Takes Two. Okay? It says nobody wants to play as a magical lesbian. Like they're identifying themselves here as idiots, right? Looks like giving some Game of the Year does nothing for sales. It Takes Two was slop, by the way. Seeing all the incels and replies who think it's a bad is hilarious, right? This is great. It Takes Two has been out for 5 years. Obviously, it's made more sales. Split Fiction is selling faster than It Takes Two did for $10 more. It's a collection of mini games with brain dead story trying them together. So I guess that planned movie isn't coming out then. Do you see the problem, chat? Do you see the problem with when people post stuff and they know absolutely nothing about what they're talking about? Zero about what they're talking about. So let me go to the article, right? If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5, right? So Split Fiction Studio has sold 50 million games so far. Hazelight Games have combined to sell more than 50 million copies in about 8 years. Developer Hazelight has announced a massive sales milestone for its 3 games so far. In their 12 years since the company was founded in 2014, it released 3 games, A Way Out, which we played, It Takes Two, which we haven't played, and Split Fiction. And they have combined to sell more than 50 million copies. The most successful of the bunch was 2021's It Takes Two, which ranked up 30 million units sold. A Way Out was 2018, followed behind 13 million copies, and with Split Fiction in 2025 ranking at 7 million copies sold so far. Again, the way they talk about this is that Take Two is the most successful because it's got 30 million, but it's 5 years old. Way Out's older than that, but it's got 13 million copies, and Split Fiction, which only has 7, but it's only been out for 1 year. It says, we're stunned and amazed in how many, quote, this is from Hazelight, we're stunned and amazed in how many fans have enjoyed our games. Your love and support keeps us going, and we can't wait to show your 4th game, the developer said. Now, Hazelight was founded by filmmaker Joseph Fares, who previously directed 2013's Brother Tale of Two Sons with Starbreeze Studios, and also splitting off and started his own company. All of Hazelight games have been released under the EA's original division of Electronic Arts. Split Fiction had almost double the budget of It Takes Two, but specifically figures are unknown. Split Fiction selling fewer copies than It Takes Two, despite a bigger budget. Why are you continuously saying it sold less than a game that's 5 years old? It's been out longer. It's gone on sale. It's been out way longer, and yet they keep pushing Split Fiction didn't sell as much as the 5-year-old other game. Okay. It's only been out for 1 year. Mind you, it was $50. Wasn't a full price game. If you go back to that comment section, people thought it was a full price game. Okay. And if you bought it, by the way, you could just play it with anybody else that you wanted to. They didn't even have to own the game. You could invite them to play the game, which is unheard of in any video game. Split Fiction is a relatively new game that the people keep finding after all, but beyond that, It Takes Two won the #1 of the Game of the Year awards, and it's no doubt helped sales. His light games have caught the attention of Hollywood. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is said to be making It Takes Two movie, while Sydney Sweeney will star in a Split Fiction film. Many are wondering if Hazelight will make next. What will make next? But it remains to be seen. Ferris at Hazelight, also known for co-op games, Ferris has said that co-op will always be part of Hazelight DNA. At the same time, we didn't rule out the possibility of studios changing things up. You never know what happens in the future. It's not impossible we look into single player as well, but we also would be done with Hazelight, the Hazelight way. Okay, so what I hate the most is this clickbait bullshit that they put here. Okay, and the way they make it sound like this game is not successful, and because they did this, then you have what's the word? Oh, fucktards. Okay, that come in and say stupid shit about something they absolutely don't know, which then exposes how much of fucktards they are because they don't understand. Now, if some of these fucktards actually see what I'm saying, they'll be like, well, this guy just likes woke garbage and stuff. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Split Fiction, from a game perspective, is a phenomenal game. Phenomenal game. Is the story original? It's okay, right? The story is okay, but the actual game itself is fantastic. It's a game. But these people don't want to play games. The game they play is saying stupid shit on social media. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Let me know your what you say in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Sarge says, bookmark the line. Me and the boys are a majority of the market. Let's see here. Kraken says the level of retardation with gaming discourse is an all-time high. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Now, this is what we call incels. That's right. These are anti-woke haters who people say don't exist. Ron says It Takes Two movies starring Pedro Pascal and Pedro Pascal. Yeah. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? No. I got it, Ron. It stars Pedro Pascal and Zendaya, right? The two most prominent people in Hollywood. There is nobody else in Hollywood. It's just Pedro Pascal and Zendaya. Mr. Z says Hollywood making movies with The Rock for Take Two. They must think / know that the nerds will put their money for anything. We are now the Hollywood pay pig. When I think of It Takes Two, I don't think of The Rock. I don't think of The Rock. Now, if he wants to make it into a movie and he's a producer or something like that, I don't see The Rock starring in that. And again, I want The Rock to stop starring in video game movies. Let other people have a shot. You know? Let's see some of these other comments. Let's see. I tried to play it with okay. I mean, I didn't introduce the whole thing with here. It's a charming Take Two. Super good. It Takes Two was miles better. The fact that It Takes Two sold 30 million copies as of this month. That would also mean Split Fiction has sold 10 million copies, which also is a huge success for any game. Extremely misleading headline. Right, 100%. But this is why it's smart of GameSpot to actually post that, because it got engagement, right? But do you see what happens? Yeah, give Blackjack a shot. He hasn't been in any video game movies. That's right. The Rock was in Rampage and Doom. And, well, obviously Jumanji, which is a board game, which then they turned into a video game, which then is a video game, which now is a sequel to the game. It's meta. It's meta. I'm trying to think of was there another movie he was in? See, I almost said he was in Minecraft, but that was Jason Momoa. Engagement with the haters is easy. Yeah, and I brought it up. I brought it up because I can't stand journalism when they write a title like that. That's what they put. Instead of just putting this in the tweet, right? Imagine putting the tweet of this, just this. Split Fiction Studios has sold 50 million games so far. Instead of Split Fiction, which had double the budget of It Takes Two, had sold 1/3 of the copies so far. Like, why would you choose this, right? It's so disingenuous because we know, chat, that people don't read past the heading, right? So they decided to take something from third paragraph, fourth paragraph, and then take that and then put it as the tweet. And then all of these idiots, well, obviously not all idiots. There's actually people here that actually played the game and know what the hell they're talking about. But the people that are incels, okay, they only read this. And they have no idea what any of the other context is for the actual thing. That's what infuriates me. When you have people come in and say stuff that they think is facts, but is absolute bullshit. That's what bugs me. Mr. Z says, Writing 101, gaslighting, reframing, misdirection. See, it's like, why engage? Like, why do you want to build a community like that? You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to build an echo chamber of things, but to invite idiots into the conversation of something that doesn't need to have a conversation about this, because this is putting Split Fiction in a bad light. So much so, I think Christopher Drigg, if you like him or not, hold on one second. I think he actually came out, in his tweets. Right? He actually says it. Christopher Drigg says, Split Fiction hit 7 million sales in 3 months faster than It Takes Two. Right? If anything, this would have been a better thing to put out there. Right? So then he starts replying to people. He says, after seeing this game all the way through, there's no way in hell 7 million copies means this game didn't make money. He says it would have made a fortune, right? This one says, for some people bought the game very fast due to the hype based on the good name of the previous game. Then people slowly realized that it's not great and sales slowed down to such a bad level that it sold only 1/3. Do you see what I'm saying? He's like, it's only been out a year and it sold 7 million copies in that year. It Takes Two didn't manage that until 5 years or whatever it was, right? Much longer. Right? Do you think it's going to reach Take Two number? Does it matter? It's still successful. He says, Christopher Drake says, no games that sell those numbers are not the benchmark, but even so, 7 million units in a year is huge results. That beats, yeah. So this guy says, are you saying GameSpot is lying? Yes. Yes, with their heading, right? He says, this is baiting headline. It Takes Two has been out 6 years or 5 years, really. Split Fiction's been out for 1. So you're saying they're lying? Yes, you moron. It's misleading. This guy says, I once wrote an article about how people use statistics to bullshit. I think this is a lost in the ether. Now that it's bad stats that take our herps of the game's Twitter right now. So does this mean that It Takes Two sold at least 21 million copies? Isn't that up to the... Say, this person didn't read the fucking article. This person didn't read the article because in the article they tell you how many copies they sold. Right? They sold 30 million copies. Right? This person didn't read. He says, I got to say, I've never believed these numbers of these titles specifically. I have few suspicions as of why, but I think they're inflating their units. Could entirely be wrong. So now this person is just taking something and just completely making it up. With no evidence. With no evidence. This person says, I hate how people just don't understand how time works when discussing game sales. This is also going to be such a worse This is also going to be much worse when GTA 6 comes out. First month of sales, maybe around 20 million. And then Twitter analyst Grifter will write GTA 6 only sold 10% of what GTA 5. It's exactly right. It's exactly what they're going to do. Right? This person says, small problem. It Takes Two sold another 16 million copies. After that, Split Fiction didn't. Oh, for fuck's sake. That's because It Takes Two won Game of the Year. And Split Fiction was nominated for Game of the Year. Like, it's so ridiculous. And then on top of that, It Takes Two sold more units after it went on sale, where it was like $20, half the price than it came out originally. Sure, it still sold 30 million copies, but it didn't sell 30 million copies at its full price. Titan says, totally baiting and misleading. Let's go on, Roadkill. Clip says 30 million copies. That's ridiculous. That's probably one of the best EA games ever. Well, you got to remember, it wasn't full price. It's a $40 game when it first came out originally. And then it went on sale after that, right? Titan says it also had a COVID boost. It also had Game of the Year boost, right? It had 2 boosts. Not only did it have COVID boost, but it had Game of the Year boost. And Split Fiction sold more copies faster. Saint says, I prefer It Takes Two over Split Fiction. That's fine. That's fine. That has no bearing what you like or don't like. What we're talking about is the baiting of the headline of the tweet saying that this game didn't sell as much as It Takes Two, when It Takes Two has been out for 5 years, won Game of the Year. This was nominated for Game of the Year, and it's only been out for 1 year. And the heading says Split Fiction, which had double the budget, which is putting it a negative, and then saying only sold 1/3 of the copies. No, you're good, Saint. You're good. Right? That's the problem. I have a problem with headlines of stuff of just, baiting people and not giving the actual truth. Ron Slusher says, bottom line is both games are successful. That's correct. Both games are successful, but they want to put this in a bad light and have engagement, and then people say stuff that doesn't even exist in the actual game, which is just mind-boggling to me. All right, we go from that. Eclipse says, I think It Takes Two has a better story, for sure, but gameplay, like Split Fiction, better. What I liked about Split Fiction was it wasn't just the same old side scroller. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't just the same old top down. They did so many cool things in that game and constantly keep switching it and changing it up and just making it fun, right? That's what it was. Now, I never played It Takes Two. Me and Sarge should probably do that one week or whatever on Shooting the Shit with Sarge. We should probably play that, okay? But the fact that they made a game. I've liked all the games that Hazelight's done, the 2 I've played of the 3, right? I thought No Way was really good the way they did it, as far as 2 people, split screen, you're doing puzzles, and this person has to help this person out, and so on and so forth. And I love the business model that they have, because I bought the game, and if I want to play it with Sarge, he doesn't have to buy the game. If I want to play it with Ron, he doesn't have to buy the game. I could just invite other people to come play the game just to play the game. They don't have to own it. Right? That's insane. Think about that. Right? It sold 7 million copies. But it actually has double the amount of people that played it, because obviously it's a 2-player game. You have to have 2 people to play it. Right? And they could have sold it. They could have been like, oh, you have to play with someone that bought the game and it match makes. No, they're like, you could buy our game and you can play it with whoever you want. You can just invite them over. Isn't it a small studio with a massive return on investment? Yeah, it made its money back because apparently, I think the No Way Out was super cheap to make, and then It Takes Two goes up to, I think, about 80 million, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. And then this one was double the budget, so it was like 150, 160, I think. Let me see what the budget was for Split Fiction. Hold on a second. I'm going off with what they said double, so because I know they don't actually say it, but they say a rough estimate. Yeah, so Split Fiction, an estimated total development marketing budget between 35 and 60 million. So I doubled that. So It Takes Two was half that. So It Takes Two was like 35 million. And Split Fiction was like 60 million, right? Well, it made its money back. Well over its money back. Right? This is what we should want in video games, by the way, where production is not $400 million and then they charge $70, or it's $250 to $300 million and they're charging $40. Roadkill says 30 never invited me. No, I only invited Sarge. I wanted only matchmaking for the next game. Hard to find friends locally. Saint says, no way out, always disconnected for me. So I never played it. It was good. It wasn't great. It was interesting. I mean, it was way back when. God, we played it. When did we play it? Was it came out in 2016? Something like that? Me and Sarge played it on stream. Not only do they make great games, right? But I also like the owner. He's like no filter. And their games are not bloated. You know what I mean? All right. Let's go to the next story, which is, it's the jail breakout game. Yep. Next story. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Despite good reviews, the first Berserker Khazan development team reportedly dissolved over disappointing sales just days after Nexon CEO praised the game. Now, the team of Khazan developer Neo people, right, have also apparently been reassigned. Now, the development staff behind the action RPG, the first Berserker Khazan, has also reportedly been reassigned under a parent company, Nexon, following disappointing sales for the game, effectively splitting up the team. Now, obviously, at least they didn't lose their job, right? As of April 8th, report of Korean outlet citing a statement that Nexon's official says personnel have been moved to another project and will benefit from their experience. Now, apparently claiming that this doesn't represent the disillusion of Khazan's team, but the future of the game, which is also the updates and recently as March 31st, is murky. It says, I've reached out to Nexon for clarification. Okay. In a recent March 31st capital markets briefing, comments from Nexon CEO Jung-Hung Lee suggested that the first Berserker was a touchstone for broader plans to bring in Dungeon and Fighter, along with running a series whose lore of the game borrows into a global audience and a new form. It says, quote, the first game in the series, First Berserker, was released in 2025 and delivered a hardcore action experience tailored specifically to a Western audience, Lee said. Khazan demonstrated that the Dungeon and Fighter can travel. He's also now preparing for its China launch, which is also further validate its long-term potential. Complications with the delay of China's release of Khazan are also actually mentioned by the news as one factor in its sales struggle. Elsewhere, the briefing of Khazan is also mentioned as part of the publishing agreement with Tencent to bring high-potential Nexon games like the Finals, Arc Raiders, and the first Berserker Khazan to millions of new players in China. So the high potential or not, it seems that the first Berserker wasn't cutting it out for Nexon. The company said last year that despite the good reviews, it had missed sales targets, yet even if it stressed the value of getting folks into a Dungeon and Fighter indirectly. It says, quote, the game made its global debut on March 28th, which strong ratings of both players and critics. Nexon said the earnings call at the time, while quarter one revenue was also below our outlook, the game achieved our objective as a strategic first step in the multi-year plan to introduce Dungeon Fighter IP to a global audience. It says if the Neopil breakup is complete as it sounds, you'll find me joining in the Souls-like action RPG fans pouring one out for Khazan's follow-up that also might have been. The game has had great combat and terrible level design, exactly the kind of game that also would benefit from a sequel, reinforcing what it does well and correctly and what it does poorly. It says, I have some hopes that the Project Overkill will also be described as Nexon as an online action RPG for PC and console, which fully modernize the combat physics, visuals, and overall perception, while also the Dungeon Fighter icon raids, dungeons, and cooperative play. So it sounds like it may not scratch the same itch. Nexon's Defying Fate might be a bit closer, promising perfectly timed dodges and counters in a fast-paced action combat system. So I'm assuming people think that the game is like closing down or not, but they're just taking the people and going, all right, well, this is what we have, but we're gonna move you so no one lost their jobs here. They just took the team and blended them into the next project, whatever they're working on. So that's good news. Nobody lost their job. It's just that they're not supporting this particular game anymore, or there might not even be a sequel. But by reading this, it does seem like this is the first step in a, didn't they say trilogy in here? Right? Because they have a broader plan for what's going on. Yeah, first game in a series. So we'll see what happens with it. I mean, obviously, it didn't do well enough, underperformed. Again, I don't know what the budget is for this. Let's see. What do you think the budget would be for something like this? I don't even know if they'll tell you. Speculatively, okay, let's see. Do they have a budget? They don't have any budget. Budget. Do we have any kind of rough estimate? No. I would say this is definitely below like 50 mil. I would assume. How many sales does it have? Did they even tell that? The first Berserker underperformed commercially following a launch in March 2026, failing to meet the Nexon sales expectation despite the initial surge of nearly 30,000 concurrent players on PC. Sales declined rapidly, leading to... Okay, so let's look at that. Let's look at the Steam charts here. Yeah, it's about, I would say, between console and Steam, it's probably made just about a million copies sold, I would assume. Right? It's got 32,000 in 13 months on Steam. Overall, it's got about 692,000 players. Give them an extra 200,000. We'll give it 300,000. So we're just below about a million. Again, generic math here. We don't know for facts. Okay, just assuming by what this is and what this is, and then you give the player base from the console. So they're just about under a million. We'll say 900,000 or whatnot, right? So let's just give them, what did the game cost? $60? Was it 60 or 70? What was the price? $60. All right, so let's just say, we'll say 900,000. They sold about 15,000 copies. About 15,000 copies. So, if it was 900,000... So, again, this game had to be under like 50 mil. Because if it was $50 million to make, let's see, 50 million, and let's say we'll add plus another, we'll say 20 mil for marketing, right? Whatever it was. Let's just say it's 70 million total. They're under. It would be about 1.1. If it was just the, again, I don't even know if it's 50 mil, right? I'm just assuming. And you divide that by the 60, they would make profit. They would make profit if it was 50 mil. If it was like 35 mil, it could be less than that, right? Anything less than 50, they make profit with the amount they sold. Yeah, because if it was $35 million to make the game, they needed to sell, they'll make about $583 million if they sold 60 at $60 a pop, right? So, or 583,000, sorry. 583,000. So they're at 600,000. So if it was anything below 50 and below, they made money. So when the article talks about that it underperformed. Underperformed still means it made money, but it's close to the breaking even point, or just under the breaking even, or just over the breaking even point. They thought it was going to make more, and it didn't make it. But we'll see. Did you guys play it? Anybody in chat play it? Did you guys play? I think Waterbear played it, didn't he? Did you play it, Brain? Neutralizer says Khazan was a really good game. One of my favorites of the last year. I'm a sucker for Souls-likes, so it was my cup of tea. But I can understand why it didn't sell extremely well. Well, it also is now coming out for China, so that might make it up the difference that didn't sell over here. You know what I mean? I mean, most Souls games don't even sell that good to begin with. Elden Ring is the only one that broke that mold. Eclipse says Lies of P, probably one of the best Souls games I've ever played. I don't even know if that game hit 5 million. It probably did. I think it did, actually. I think they just recently said. I actually think it did. It's at 4 million. Sold 4 million. I remember them coming out, in March. As of March 2026, Lies of P has sold 4 million copies worldwide. Oh, I forgot it was on Game Pass, Mo. So they also got money from Microsoft for that as well. Lies of P was successful enough? Sure. What Brain's saying is that it's not like these games sell tens of millions of copies, is what he's saying. He's saying that selling like 3 to 4 million copies is really successful for these types of games. I just want to put it out there. Selling 1 million of anything is fucking hard to do. So when you sell a game and it's 1 million copies, like that's really hard. I know we think about like Grand Theft Auto selling 245 and Minecraft 300 million copies and stuff like that. I understand people like see that and be like, oh yeah, Call of Duty sells 30 million, you know. If a game company, a smaller game company, gets 500,000 copies, they're set, man. All depending on what it is. Like look at Pal World, right? Look at Expedition 33. Hell, Hello Games with a broken game at No Man's Sky, which we'll talk about, right? With the whole open world games a little bit later. Right? No Man's Sky had a broken game, sold so many copies at the beginning that they don't ever have to charge again. Right? There's no microtransactions. They're just charging what the game is. $40, $50, whatever it is. They haven't done anything to that to change it. They're like, yeah, it's the base game. All this stuff is included with No Man's Sky. They made so much money. We read an article, I think 2 years ago, saying that Hello Games doesn't have to charge for 16 years. They made so much money off the initial No Man's Sky that they don't have to charge for microtransactions for 16 years. Brainchild says, I tried Khazan. It looked good, but I didn't play enough to really judge it. Lies of P, truly underrated. Elden Ring is fantastic. Have to try Night Rain to really weigh in on that, though. Waterbear says, Khazan is dope. Bought it day one, but it was definitely a target audience. It's not my type of game. The only reason I got Elden Ring is because of the open world and exploring that, right? I did 63 hours, I think, in Elden Ring just because of exploring. I didn't kill a quarter of the bosses in that game. I played with First Loser and his brother, right? And they carried me through for a lot of the bosses, right? I might have killed maybe 10 bosses, maybe. But I love my time in it. I love the fact that you could just explore, find different weapons, and then use those weapons. That's why I like Crimson Desert right now. Right? I didn't like the whole, the Souls-like where it's just very linear and just boss fight after boss fight after boss fight. I like playing, Elden Ring where you could kill the guys in the open world and then you come across a boss fight. Yeah, was great. Waterbear says, now for what it's worth, I also bought Night Rain and hated it. Did you put 160 hours into it to figure that out, Water? Did you put 160 hours in? Because you can't judge a game until it's 160 hours, and then and only then can you call it trash. Yeah. You gotta put in at least 160 hours in before you could call it trash. All right, let's see here. What is this? Frustrated how people identify to products. So criticism of the product. Yeah, it's weird. All right, let's see what else we got going on. Oh, have you guys seen this? This is not related to video games. We went to this local food place. They sell like sushi rolls and stuff like that, right? Have you guys seen, because they're trying to get rid of the penny now? Like, they're discontinuing the penny. So now, to explain how they're getting rid of the penny, this is not the first time I've seen it. I've seen it in other places too. They have a little piece of paper next to the kiosks that you have to order your own food now. You don't even talk to an actual person. But on the actual kiosk now, there's a piece of paper, and it tells you rounding down, rounding up, rounding all this. And it's like you have to read a book to understand why they're charging you, or like rounding down for the penny or rounding up. If you pay this much, if it's 1 to 2 cents or 3 cents, it rounds down. If it's 4 to 5, then it rounds up. And it's like, anybody else see this? I'm like, holy Christ. Oh, they can, Sarge. Because on the piece of paper that you have to read, it tells you that what they're rounding up and rounding down. And if you pay with cash, that you're not going to get the correct change because they don't carry pennies. So they've just decided as a society, they're like, oh, it's 1903, and you're like, okay, and now they round up, and they're like, they round up to the nickel. And if it's to the 6 or the 7, right, they'll round down to the 5. But if it's over the 7 to 8 to the 9, then it rounds up to the things, so you're paying an extra 3 cents. So if anyone's ever watched Office Space, and you know the whole scheme of there of just taking pennies, right? So now there's a whole thing of all of these businesses making extra hundreds, thousands of dollars because they're rounding up the penny. And everyone's just kind of, all right. First of all, if I'm paying with a card, why is there fucking change to begin with? You could just do the exact amount and just say, hey, you guys eat the cost. But they won't do that. Oh, we just don't carry pennies. Imagine that. You're just like, I just don't have the cash. Here's 100. Oh, I don't have any change for the 100, so I'm just going to keep it. Be like, what do you mean you don't have change? I don't have any change. I can't break I don't have any dollar bills. I have no 5s or 10s. I can't do it. Fucking crazy. The world that we live in. Yeah, if you haven't seen this yet, wait. It'll come to your location. You can't steal 3 cents from me forever on every transaction. Just because they say it doesn't mean it's illegal. It's not legal. Let's go on, Dolphin. All right, the next thing I want to watch, we're going to be watching Bellier News here. Crimson Desert broke people's brains. If you guys like it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. All the links are in the description down below. All the news stories we've covered, all the videos we watch, they're in the description down below. Like I said, go over to Bellier's News site, subscribe to him, give it a like. We're going to be pausing and stuff and talking about it as well. So here we go.
We're in a strange world. I think Crimson Desert kind of reveals it.
Hello, hold on a second.
We're in a strange world, and I think Crimson Desert kind of reveals loads of it. Now, I'm going to start us off with a quote, and here it is. You don't want to let people down at launch by making them anticipate something to such a high level, like it is the second coming. Now, Crimson Desert was kind of the second coming to many, and that quote was from that game's head of public relations when he was speaking to IGN just a few weeks before the launch. Do you know what? He was right to be worried. When a dev warns you not to treat their game like the second coming, it's a pretty good indicator that the hype may...
It makes much more sense now when, what's his name, Will Powers was on all those interviews and stuff like that, talking about the game and was trying to temper people's expectations about what the game is, because everyone was running with it like it's going to be a story. It's like, it's not story, it's not this.
We have just went too far. Not...
Bro, where's that? Is that Crimson Desert? I have yet to go that direction.
That investors really paid any heed to that. And we'll get to it soon because they've looked very silly. But what we saw was insane levels of scale, millions upon millions of views, and players ready for the big new thing. Then the game launched, the bubble burst, and reality happened. This is a game many of us wanted to succeed, and part of that is the story, because seemingly it is...
Again, we have had this conversation weekly, monthly, yearly, okay? To me, I know story is important to a lot of people. I will take a mediocre story than shitty gameplay. I will take gameplay 1,000% than story. Okay? Because if a game has shitty story, I can still play the game, which the game needs to have game in it. Okay? If it has an okay story, like for instance, right? Suicide Squad didn't have the best story, but it had a decent story, but the gameplay was okay as well, but the online aspect completely sucked, okay? But the gameplay kept you going because of you were shooting and doing the combos and stuff like that, and it had a pretty decent story. But people shit on it because they, for whatever reason, but I'll take gameplay over story any day.
One of a studio that decided on the right path. Pearl Abyss, the developers behind Black Desert Online, were actively walking away from their history of big multiplayer games to go and do a gameplay-driven, fantastic-looking action game instead. So obviously people were interested, but then they saw it and it was stunning, which to be honest, if you'd played the likes of Black Desert, shouldn't really be too surprising. They can do visuals. The initial trailers racked up millions of views, and then the feature...
Exactly, Hero. 100% gameplay over story. Go watch a movie if you want story. Right. I mean, go look at every successful Mario game, or I should say Nintendo game. Story is okay, but the fucking gameplay of these games that you're playing is what drives those games.
Previews basically started to blow people's mind. The number of mechanics is honestly unhinged. We've got combo-driven combat, loads of mini-games, town management, vehicles, Zelda-style physics puzzles, and a hell of a lot more. To the point where you do just say, how the hell can any of this be real? And there's clearly demand for a big world with depth. Think about all the pent-up...
I have no idea where that is either. It's just crazy that I'm almost at 130 hours and I don't even know where this is.
Hype for the next big Witcher game. Hell, we even know that Sony wanted to lock this game down as a potential console exclusive. And if
Sony wanted to lock down, we've talked about this, right? Sony wanted to lock this down. Could you imagine? Oh God, what a world I would love to take a time machine and go back where this game was just a PlayStation exclusive. In a world where this was a PlayStation exclusive, do you think we would still get what we're getting today where people talk shit about the game? Or do you think people would have just gushed over this game? Oh, it's the best game. It would be up for like game of the year for sure if it was just a Sony exclusive. For sure. Come on, chat, right? If it was just a PlayStation exclusive, this would be the talk of the town. This would be on everyone's list.
Wasn't for Sony having a few foibles, that would almost feel like a Nintendo official seal of approval, like back in the day. Then we even got the promise of no microtransactions. It all kinda looked perfect, and in the wake of Stellar Blade, this was the moment for Korean developers like Pearl Abyss. They were ready to show the world that they could make single-player games that stand shoulder to shoulder with the best. And it wasn't just the people who were excited. No, it was the investors. They made just a price.
Look at that. Look at the crater. Here's you want to see something? This crater right here, this is where they lost money. Right here's where Sarge bought. Yeah, right here's where Sarge bought.
In the expectation of this being the second coming. Just take a look at Pearl Abyss's stock price since Gamescom of last year. It hit a 2-year high whenever the game went gold in January, so expectations were always high. So high that of course the obvious was going to happen. And it wouldn't be modern gaming if people weren't pitted against each other. So, pre-launch and reviews were a little bit of a complex story. Big outlets like IGN, Eurogamer, and quite a few more panned the game. And even the most positive recognized issues of the likes of the control scheme, the chaos.
Sure, but we've already talked about this in detail, right? A lot of the reviewers, Luke Stevens, Skill Up, Force Gaming, everyone gave feedback when they were in the Discord and stuff like that. And the developers took that and were already making changes. So when the game came out, that's why the fixes were so quick, okay? It wasn't really just because the players were like, oh, this needs to be... They were already telling people ahead of time that these are problems in the game. And then it was just amplified when it came out to other people saying, oh, yeah, this is a problem, and they fixed it, right? The media, though, spun it as this is as bad as Cyberpunk or No Man's Sky or any other game that came out broke, buggy, and unfinished. They fixed it it didn't take them 6 to 8 to 12 months or 2 years to fix it. They fixed it in less than Concord failed. They fixed 80, 90% of the problems in the game faster than it took Concord to fail.
A deluge of stuff because the game was just that packed, and a story that was deeply divisive. And what emerged from all this was a vibe, even from the positive reviews, that this game needed more than 8 hours to play before it really clicked. That is a lot to ask. This all led to a number being a little bit low than some people thought. Those people being the investors, because they began to sell off Pearl Abyss stock in droves.
Idiots. Do you know why? Because these people don't know video games. These people don't know video games.
Crashing the stock price by more than 30%. And the rationale here was absolutely wild. So, according to the Seoul Economic Daily, investors expected a high...
That shirt would have came in handy there, Water. Right? Concord line, the Concordia line. Crimson Desert fixed their game faster than Concord.
80s aggregated score. They didn't see that, so they basically abandoned the game and the company. Now the thing here is, it's not like it was panned. The majority reviews were actually fine. Like, as a whole package, it landed at a high 7 or a low 8 out of 10. That's what's on the aggregation sites like OpenCritic. That's not a bad game. We're in this weird world where people think that 7 out of...
Talk about this all the time. Everybody says, oh, it's a 7 out of 10. 7's not a bad game. I don't know if you know this, but you can graduate with a 70. There's people that run companies that got 70s. Okay? 70 doesn't mean shit. It means exactly what they say. Good. It's a good game. Right? A lot of people think 7 is a 1. Right? 7's a 1. 8's a 2. There's no such thing as a 3. 9s and 10s are 5s. You know what I'm saying? It's a scale of 1 to 5, and 2 of the numbers don't even matter. It's 1, 3, and 5. Take out the 2, take out the 4. A 7 is a 1.
Of 10 is somehow awful and mid and slop. No, if you see a 7 out of 10, that may just mean it doesn't have extremely broad appeal. And that maps onto games. And what it...
That's good what he just said. A 7 means it doesn't have broad appeal. I don't know, man. There's some games out there that are 7, and I guess we'll go into this maybe at the end of this video, right? You look at this, the current on Steam is 232,000 or whatever it was, 275,000, right? And people are like, this is not successful. But yet those people will tell you Marathon at 88,000 is successful. Okay? But then Starfield, who's got 332,000 concurrent, is not successful. So my brain in math is like, I'm confused. So 282 for Crimson Desert, not successful. Marathon, 88,000 successful, and 332,000 for Starfield, not successful. Make it make sense for me, chat.
Means is that if we want to actually support the types of games that we like, we need to be willing to try out 7 out of 10s that may just happen to appeal to us more than to other people. So, it's a weird game, and most of the people who thought Crimson Desert was a game where you, quote, consume content, didn't.
This guy, Jason Schreier. You know, he does really good reporting when it comes to investigative reporting of actual, like, stuff happening in the game industry, but his takes on video games are dog shit. I've only played a few hours of the much hyped Crimson Desert, so weigh my opinion accordingly. It's dog shit. That's what I put you in. Like, there's a scale of, like, people I respect for reviews, and then yours is dog shit, right? But those few hours were so boring and soulless that I absolutely did not want to play anymore. It feels like a game designed for people who just want to consume content.
Actually review the thing. But we've seen this kind of thing before. That means we know what happens next. And one day after launch, they'd actually sold 2 million copies. But, that's what they sold. It's not necessarily sentiment. And as it turns out, the reviews weren't wrong. There was not some huge gulf between game reviewers working for websites and YouTubers and people on Steam. No, what we saw is early Steam reviews landing at 60% positivity. PC players were often furious about the game's performance. There was also performance issues in
It didn't take them 2 years to fix it.
console. The control scheme seemed absolutely mad.
You know how we say in the old days, a fortnight's 2 weeks? Well, now we can say in a Concord is 13 days, which is just less than a fortnight, right? Just less than a fortnight. So it got fixed in a Concord.
To many, and many decisions about gameplay left people confused. As it turns out, almost every reviewer's critique was echoed by players. And all of that was before the whole Gen AI art thing that, well, basically resulted in some assets slipping through the cracks. So by now, I think we can see how all of the hype and the drama and everything behind this, be it from players, reviewers, or of course the investor bunch, kinda says more about hype cycles and modern social media and that sort of thing.
I'm sorry, what did he just do there?
Kinda says more about hype cycles.
Is that an invisible floor? Where the hell is this?
Modern social media and that sort of thing than it does about the game itself. The game is just what it is. Maybe a 7.5 out of 10, but absolutely one that
Sure. 7.5 out of 10. Great. All day.
you may love. But what's quite clear is it isn't the second coming. It was never going to be the second coming. Its PR team literally told us it wouldn't be that in the weeks coming up to launch, and now we can actually understand why, because we know how this game was actually made. Pearl Abyss have only made one game before, and that is 2014.
Waterbear says, so can we say Crimson Desert is one of those games that had the Cyberpunk / No Man's Sky type of moment, or no? No. Because the No Man's Sky moment, it took them 2 years to fix. A Cyberpunk took them 2 years to fix. So you had to fuck up and be fucked up for 2 years just so you could have a big comeback. This is not a big comeback. This is a patch fixed in 10 days. Right? It's not the same.
Teen's MMO Black Desert Online. I played a little bit of it myself. It's an odd game. It's known.
I mean, I've said this out loud, right? They should have waited the 2 weeks. If they knew they were fixing the stuff, obviously there's a lot of the gas is moving. You can't just stop a game right away. I mean, you guess you could, but then the backlash would happen. The stocks definitely would have tanked. Okay, but if you just waited the 2 weeks, you wouldn't have any of these issues. You would be like, you know what? We literally are polishing it. Just give us 2 weeks because we don't want to put a product out.
For having an incredibly impressive character creator, and over its lifetime, it's got 55 million players. Now, when Crimson Desert was first announced in 2019, it was a prequel to Black Desert Online. And it wasn't some single-player prequel to flesh out the world. No, it was an MMO. That's what they set out to make. It was them doing what they knew how to do. But then things changed. An interview with IGN revealed that during the 6.5-year development period of the
Will Powers, in a sense of we're all kind of victims of ourselves. We announced the game too early, And honestly, that's just inarguable to dispute. Things happen that way for multiple reasons. The game changed, and we built the engine. And it's not just for this game, but an additional engine altogether. So it's not just strictly development time for a singular title, but if we had to do it again, I don't think anyone would say we should have announced the game 6.5 years in advance. It's funny about this right here is because we just talked about this yesterday about State of Decay. State of Decay was announced, and there was no game, right? They announced this game, there was no game. Skyrim 6, there is no game. Or Elder Scrolls 6, there is no game. I keep saying Skyrim 6. Right? Elder Scrolls 6, there is no game, but they announced these things. Metroid Prime 4, whenever they announced it, there was no game. They announced these things not for us, the gamer, but for investors to invest in their companies and other people, or to get developers to come and work on the actual stuff. When it comes to the actual game, right? Obviously, they want to sell systems and stuff. So when they showed all those games back when Xbox was just coming out with the Xbox Series S and X, they show you a bunch of games and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to buy the system because this game's going to come out sometime, right? That's why they do what they do, which are lies. But he says here, things happen the way for multiple reasons. Yeah, those are the multiple reasons. Everything I just said is this sentence. Things happen that way for multiple reasons. It happens for investors. It happens to get more developers to come into the actual projects. It's to sell systems. It's to sell a whole bunch of stuff.
This game, a lot of things happened. The team changed engines, they built an entirely new one, and they overhauled the entire game from an MMO into a single-player experience.
Yeah, Will Powers, even though this game was pivoted to a single-player open world, those single players are benefiting from systems from when it was a different type of game, which is why many people say that haven't seen a game like this before. This isn't what this game was originally intended to be. So basically, they've made something they didn't mean to make, which is how some of the things in real life happen. They're like, oh, I'm stirring up something. What is this? Oh, I made Play-Doh. I was trying to make food, but instead I made Play-Doh, right? And then that Play-Doh goes on and sells, millions and millions of dollars worth of product because they, by accident, made Play-Doh. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's true. Just giving an example, right? This is what game wasn't originally intended to be. This is a amalgamation of what it morphed into, benefiting from where it came from. And this is why you look at it and people say it's an MMO, single-player MMO. And it is.
Experience. Of course, much of that MMO DNA seems to have survived into the final game, with a lot of players calling out the quest design and the controls as being MMO holdovers. Of course, that is the type of game that this development studio knows how to make. But there's another wrinkle to this story. Crimson Desert was supposed to launch 3 years ago. Yes.
Oh my God. If this game came out 3 years ago, going back to what Water Bear set up here, right? Water Bear asked just a couple minutes ago. So can we say Crimson Desert is one of those games that had its cyberpunk / No Man's Sky type of moment? If this came out 3 years ago, this game would have bombed. And then think about it. 2-3 years later, if they made the fixes and changed it to what they is today, then you could say it had a No Man's Sky / cyberpunk moment.
In 2023, Pearl Abyss had actually follow-up games. Plan 8, a Pokemon-like game called Doke V, seemingly meant to launch with Crimson Desert. So we can certainly deduce that development wasn't really easy. Here's where it gets more interesting. In an interview on the Friends Per Second podcast, the voice actor for the lead character, Cliff, described a 5-year
recording process as an off and on various periods of low and then very high intensity. And has also been recording various iterations of the character in various stages of development for ages. And for the first year and a half or so, it was just a demo, as far as I knew. They only found that out nearly 2 years into recording, he remarked. They sort of said, well, you're going to start recording in the earnest now. It went on to hell to do, he says, what the hell do you mean? I've been doing this for ages.
Recording process. That's certainly a contrast to Charlie Cox's 5-hour recording experience.
Right? If this game came out 3 years ago, Starfield, it would have been another Starfield. It would have been one of these other games that we talk about as a No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk, Fallout.
Expedition 33. So this guy spent 1.5 years recording before finding out that the recordings he was doing was actually just demo work. And then they spent years before release trying to work with the developers to just lock down the story and the characters. And by his account, the main story of the game, as a sort of shattered tribe.
After about 2.5 years, they decided really wanted to resonate, this idea of family and trying to bring something back together. I think that's the main story strand of the game and only story strand of the game when you begin. I don't want to say they started panicking, but they were like, oh yeah, I really want this. I really want Cliff to care about this, his comrades. And I said, well, he does, but you haven't written that monologue.
Building themselves only came into focus after 2.5 years of development. There was simply so much upheaval that Pearl Abyss couldn't lock down what they actually wanted from the story, which makes sense. You've got changing genre, you've got going from multiplayer MMO to single player, even changing engine.
Right, you look at games like Wayfinder, you look at games like Towerborn, where they completely changed the model, where it was supposed to be like a live service type of thing. It was supposed to be like an MMO type of thing. And all of a sudden they switched. Wayfinder doesn't really have dialogue. You know what I mean? So you didn't have to like go back and like record a whole bunch of things and stuff. It's just mostly text-based type of stuff that you're reading. Yes, there is voices in there, but some of the voices are not complete, right? Some of the voices. So you look at that and go, oh, it doesn't really have a story either, but it's just like an MMO type of feel. And you can still feel the MMO-esque parts of Wayfinder.
So of course, that kind of thing would have taken a while. And even after launch, Pearl Abyss's CEO suggested that they'd done...
Oh, hold on. What did it say here? Newman acknowledged that the boon in the game is clearly the size of the open world. And, the fact that you can also pick up a cat, which is attributed to the preference of the developers and the people who also wrote the scripts for these games, which kept changing. So the various stages, it felt very much like making a TV series where they also kept moving the focus. And in fact, it's not a secret. Just look at the way Crimson Desert came into being. They did move things around. It continued referring to the fact that it also began life as a prequel to Pearl Abyss MMORPG Black Desert Online.
Would have taken a while. And even after launch, Pearl Abyss's CEO suggested that they...
Regarding the shareholders' criticism that the game lacks the storyline, CEO Hiro Jin-young explained that the sympathies to some extent the disappointment users feel regarding to the story. I think it would have also been nice if we could also have done a better job with it, adding the production team tried to make up for these shortcomings in the remaining time. But ultimately, we focused on the strengthening the gameplay, which is what we do best. And I honestly, thank God, because the story is not there and gameplay is the most important thing. I love the gameplay in this. I know some people are like, oh, it's not groundbreaking, it's not something amazing, it's just good gameplay. There's this loop of stuff that you can do in the game for the actual gameplay. There's so many different mechanics that you can do. There's so many different things like the puzzles and the exploration and the fighting and the camp building and stuff like that. There's so many different things to do that if it was just fighting, then it would get mundane fast. But because there's fighting and puzzles and story and this, right? There's so many different aspects of this game. You don't really have time to go, oh, this sucks or this is really good. You're just like, overall, the pros outweigh the cons with this game.
They'd done what they could with the time they had left for the story, but that he sympathizes with disappointment from players. Now, everything I've talked about so far is verified, right? But what's interesting...
Waterbear says, for many, though, it's not, though. But, Water, if you take any game, I don't care if it's... There's 250... How many gamers are there in the world? There's like 250 million console gamers, let's say, right? 250 million console gamers out there, or gamers that buy all the stuff. Majority of gamers don't buy even the most popular games out there, right? So many of the people that don't buy Madden or don't buy an RPG or don't buy, a JRPG or don't buy an action adventure, you know what I mean? I was replying to Travis. Okay. I was like, it's always the many that don't play.
Is it lends credence to things that we cannot yet...
What is Travis saying? Hold on. What is Travis saying? 3 years ago, it would have been an actual Cyberpunk launch. Yeah, 100%. Travis says, most people, most importantly thing to you is many story is the most important part. That's what you're saying. For many, it's not, though. Exactly right. More people want to play video games than they want story. And it's proven because games that don't have story sell tens of millions of copies, right? And then games that have shitty stories also sell tens of millions of copies. But ones that are just movie games, they sell 5 to 7 million copies. Right? Because a lot of people don't want to play a movie or watch a movie on a video game. They want to play the video game.
verify, which is because they come from unverified accounts on Blind. You may not have heard about Blind, but it's an industry-exclusive forum that lets verified game developers vent about their problems. Obviously, then, there is a bit of a sampling bias here. The people who come to this forum will have, self-selected themselves towards that forum. It's not like you're going to have as many of the happier stories of development. But what we do have is two unnamed developers describing Crimson Desert's development.
But sports games do have a story. They do have a story. It's your story. If you make a character and you're going into college ball and you get up to the professional football league, right? If you get into the NFL and then you go on to win a playoff game or you win into a Super Bowl, that's your story. Your stats are your story. You know what I'm saying? There's no story actually there where they're telling you like, oh, it's your story. You make a character and you try to win the Super Bowl. That's a story. That's a story arc.
As chaotic. They had consistently changing leadership, magpie-like tendencies for grabbing features from other games, one of those apparently being the Tears of the Kingdom floating islands, and an inability to agree on a direction for the game, which resulted in the big chaotic hodgepodge that people ended up getting. Even just going by what we know to be true, the 6+ years of development, the focus and hyper-fidelity, and just the chaos of a game that took over 6 years to come together, yeah, Crimson Desert could never be the future.
We found out fishing is literally pointless in this game. Obviously, if you like to fish, go fish, right? But you could literally jump in the water, grab a fish with your hand, and it's much more efficient.
Future of gaming that some people, and maybe a few investors, had built it up to be. But there's a reason why we're doing this video after the fact, because launch was not the end of the story for this game. Because even as it's not an MMO, players are still playing it like one, and Pearl Abyss are actually updating it like it is a live game. So during launch week, Crimson Desert was the sixth.
Well, I don't know if they're updating it like a live game. I think they're updating to fix the problems that were shown about the game. I wouldn't really say that's a live service game if they're fixing the problem. Now, if you start adding stuff to the game, like a live service game monthly, well, that would be a different story, right?
The most played game in Steam, and it was in the top 30 over on the consoles, which is entirely respectable for a new game like this. Sales have now topped 4 million, which is quite good, but most importantly, Pearl Abyss have been working hard, actually. They've been patching the game every few days. 4 days after launch, they had fixed the control bindings and storage problems. 3 days after that, they'd improved onboarding for their mechanics, they'd solved a bunch of graphical issues, and 3 days after that, they'd actually added in quality of life features to pare down the worst of the MMO grind tendencies that slipped in to the final game. That's quite something. And what it means is that the game reviewers who played and criticized this game before launch, they were basically playing the game that players got.
What's the price of platinum, Roadkill?
Day one. Now, of course, patches like this can fix controls, they can fix performance, but they can't fix some.
I haven't found that. I haven't found any. I haven't found any of this shit. Right?
He didn't criticize this game.
I didn't even know you could do this on the horse.
And before launch, they were basically playing
the fuck is that
the
thing?
Game that players
Giant
got
crab?
on day one. Now, of course, patches like this can
got a
fix
shout, got a fan,
controls, they can fix performance, but they can't fix
got an ice sword. What the
things,
hell?
like the story being divisive, or
guys, I gotta end the stream now. I gotta go find this stuff in Crimson Desert.
Just the design philosophy of the kitchen sink, throwing everything in there they could. Structural stuff, it's not bugs. But for the people who stuck around, that kind of thing was never the problem. Because it turns out they wanted a massive sandbox.
Fucking Rocketeer going on here.
The endless progression, and a game you could buy once and play for months upon months upon months. And what we now see is that even in an era of supposed open world fatigue, there is actually an appetite for this kind of game. That's because all
$2,200 an ounce for platinum? Interesting.
While user sentiment has been growing. The people who bounced off the game, maybe even refunded.
Bro, look at these bosses. I haven't seen any of this. I'm kind of mad that he's showing me this.
And now we see that the audience who have stayed with it, number one, has actually grown, and number two, seems to be enamored. The user reviews in Steam are now at 85% positive, and the vast majority of those are coming from people who have invested 20 hours or more.
93% of the 22,891 reviews for this game are positive.
And that does expose a phenomenon we see in Steam. Steam score changes are almost more about a game finding its audience. And once a game has found its audience, the Steam score will look really good. And that's hardly surprising because Steam scores are a simple positive negative, a little bit more similar to a Rotten Tomatoes score. And it's that leads me to what I think is the real point of this video. All the noise, all the anger, all the people fighting other people, I think was ultimately immaterial and a complete goddamn waste of time.
Of course it is.
As it turns out, Crimson Desert is a good game. It's not a great game. It's not made for everyone. It's not a paradigm.
Same with Marathon, right? The difference between Marathon and Crimson Desert, one obviously is one's a multiplayer extraction and this one's a single player game. But Crimson Desert has found its player base right now, right? The difference between this is a single player game will continue to sell over the years and they will continue making money. Where Marathon is a PvP game and will continue to make money as long as it's popular. It's not popular, so it's going to die off slowly and lose a player base. And when it loses its player base, it can't get that back and it will close down because they need other people to play the game. This is another Skyrim.
Shift, the type that say some of the hype demanded, but it's a solid open world sandbox that does give a whole bunch of people exactly what they want. A dynamic sandbox, the type of thing that gives people tools and toys instead of big checklists,
Where's this? This is the same game?
allowing them to make their own busted builds and have their own
You get to go to Ewok City in Andor?
fun. That actually does work. But the real story is the hype cycle itself. A game gets stunning trailers, millions of views, and by launch, the discourse is so loaded with noise that the actual product barely gets a fair shake. The disappointment gets completely amplified. The recovery gets ignored because what was it doing? It was feeding a hype cycle that works really well per the metrics, per the algorithms of social media sites, which funnily enough are optimized for engagement.
The witches and the forest people live. I don't know where that is. And I don't want to know yet. What happened here? Uh-oh. Did we lose internet? What happened to YouTube? Are we getting a crash?
A hype cycle that works really well per the metrics, per the algorithms of social media sites, which funnily enough are optimized for engagement. They are not optimized for truth. Very often, only by waiting and trying to have a measured view of the situation, do we actually get an approximation of reality. So, it's a good game with 4 million sales and a player base that genuinely loves it. Personally, dear lord, I don't want to go anywhere near it. I have zero interest in playing this game, but that's totally fine. It was
You're a hater!
never going to be the second coming. And as it turns out, it did not need to be. We can just enjoy a game for what it is, or not if it doesn't appeal to us. It's that fucking simple. That's it for the video.
That's it. It is that fucking simple. All right? Go check out Bellider's News channel. Give it a like. Go follow him. He's got a lot of good stuff that he puts and talks about over here. All right, I want to bring up talking about open world games like this, right? If you think about, and again, I want to bring up, hold on, let me bring them up. All right, we got Crimson, we got Starfield, because I said it earlier. Let's bring up Marathon. Let's bring up, okay. So we know Crimson Desert, right? We know Crimson Desert is about $133 million for budget. Okay? Again, if you don't care about these numbers, it doesn't really matter to you. If you play the game that you like or whatever, we're just talking about, people want to say that this game is not successful. Okay? It's got around almost a little over 2.5 million people that are playing on Steam. The other 1.5 million of the 4 million sales that we know of so far are on console. All right? So there's 4 million people playing this game. Just on Steam, though, because we're only comparing Steam. People look at this and say, this is not successful, okay? They look at this and tell you that this is not successful. Now, Starfield's budget is about $70 million more than Crimson Desert, okay? It's about 200 million, 250 million or whatever it was. And this is still successful because they have about 4 million alone on Steam, and then they have another 2 million, I think, 2.5 million on console, and then they have now PlayStation, whatever they get for that down the road, okay? But they've sold around 6 million, 7 million copies of this game. Now, people will tell you that the 330,000 is not successful for Starfield. And you'll see people talking shit about Starfield, that it's not successful or whatever, because they're comparing it to Skyrim, okay? Crimson Desert's got 276,000, right? It's got 2.5 million over here, and this is also not successful to these people. But then they talk about Marathon, and they're like, this is successful. This is successful. Now, again, we always talk about the less than, greater than the last couple of weeks and months, okay? Where this is 1.28 million, and we know that 72%, whatever it was, is the majority of on Steam, okay? So obviously, this is a multiplayer game. This needs other people to play the game. You need other people to play this game. If you don't have other people, it tends to get boring and people start to drop off, which, if you can't tell, that's what's happening, right? Because slowly, this number goes down. Now, obviously, all these numbers are going to go down. All these numbers over time will go down, right? It's what the beast is, right? The difference, though, is once a single player makes its money, that's it. It's made its money, and it stays out there, and people still play it. Even if Marathon made its money back, the player base dies off, and then that game dies with it, and you can't play it again, right? That's what happens, okay? So what I want to look at here is Crimson Desert is what Starfield should have been. Crimson Desert, people are wondering, like, they're saying that this is Skyrim. This is the next Skyrim, right? And they've adapted what the world is in Crimson Desert. So going forward, this is the new bar. If you want to make an open world game, okay, now you could say Red Dead did this as well. Red Dead raised the bar. And if what Red Dead did and what Grand Theft Auto did in the past, right? Grand Theft Auto 5 hit the bar. Red Dead hit that bar and made it a little bit better, okay, in my opinion. Crimson Desert, I think, has at least met the bar of what Red Dead did for an open world, okay? People want Skyrim, and they got Skyrim from Pearl Abyss. People are disappointed in Starfield because it's not Skyrim, right? What we're doing in Skyrim right now, or what we're doing, in Crimson Desert right now, is what people were looking forward to in Starfield. Starfield made one major mistake, and it wasn't the engine they used, and it wasn't the other stuff, right? In my opinion, the biggest thing that they did wrong is 1,000 planets. I've always said this, 1,000 planets. When they first announced it, I was like, 1,000 planets? Why? When 990 of them are going to be bare, right? That is the biggest problem. If they focused on just a small amount of planets, they could have made that game so much better, where I would rather have a conversation of, man, I wish there was more planets to explore, because they did such a good job with the planets that they had in the game that you would want more from it. Hence what's happening with Crimson Desert right now with, man, this world is so good and people are complaining that they've killed everything and there's nothing to do. That is a compliment to the game, because they want to continue playing the game. They want to just continue enjoying the game that they're playing, right? Crimson Desert is filling that void of people that wanted the next Skyrim. Starfield missed out. Fallout 76 missed out. All these other open worlds just haven't captured what Skyrim did way back when, okay? And that's why this game is popping off and will continue to pop off. And this number, even though this number on Steam will continue going down because of the consistent player base, the number of sales will continue to rise. Now, here's another game that made a major mistake, which has fixed it over the last 10 years. No Man's Sky, open world game, but they did the same mistake as Starfield. Well, I should say Starfield did the same mistake as No Man's Sky. Instead of putting 1,000 planets, think about this, right? We bitched about the 1,000 planets in Starfield, but No Man's Sky put 18 quintillion planets. 18 quintillion planets with nothing on them. We're giving Bethesda shit for 1,000 empty planets, or 995 empty planets. Meanwhile, No Man's Sky for 2 years had 18 quintillion planets, still has 18 quintillion planets, okay? And there's nothing on them. And not only was there nothing on them, but it's the same fucking planets over and over, right? All the planets have pretty much all of the resources up until a certain amount of updates ago, okay? They all look the same. It's a blue planet, a green planet, a desert planet. It's like the whole biome is the one thing. So what Hello Games looked at and said, what about if we focus and make the next game, right? Which is Light No Fire. And I think Light No Fire is going to be very good as an open world game because obviously, look at what they've done with No Man's Sky. Light No Fire could be the next Crimson Desert, which could be the next Skyrim, because Light No Fire is this one concentrated one planet where they're letting you do whatever you want, different biomes, different stuff, and Light No Fire is that next tier. Again, we haven't seen it. We haven't done anything to know more about it. But the bar that Grand Theft Auto raised for open world games and then Red Dead Redemption of their own stature, of their own studio, hit and surpassed, in my opinion. Okay. Crimson Desert has hit that bar and maybe gone a little bit above that. I think Light No Fire is that next game that hits the bar and then goes above and beyond what we're looking forward to in an open world game, right? Starfield missed it. Starfield made the same mistake that No Man's Sky made a decade before it by putting way too many freaking planets into it. Now No Man's Sky has so many different updates and so many different things that you'll never leave one of the galaxies. You'll do a handful of galaxies. People will start the game and just stay within like 10 planets or 10 systems, right? Which has like 3 or 4 different planets in it. They won't go to the center of the Earth or whatever, or the center of the universe if they've played the game before. They just stay in their certain area and do what they want, okay? Because 18 quintillion planets is ridiculous. 1,000 planets is ridiculous. A giant open world like Crimson Desert is making is ridiculous. But there's so much stuff to do here. I think Light No Fire is that next game that will be criticized. It's gonna get criticized because of No Man's Sky's launch, even though the goodwill and stuff like that. I think it will get, it won't hit that expectations that people are setting forward to. But I think that this is the next game like the Crimson Desert. Starfield should have been the Crimson Desert before them. 2 years ago, Starfield should have hit that bar that was set, but they overdid it. They made it where Light No Fire. Did I say Light My Fire? Light No Fire. Crimson Desert did what Starfield was supposed to do, and Starfield missed the boat. Right? Sister says, Crimson Desert looks fun, but I'm taking time off to open world games until Light No Fire comes out. I might do another Elden Ring run, but that's it. Right? So I think overall, I think that's why people keep comparing this. Right? If Starfield came out and did what these past games did, instead of this vast openness, I understand it's space. I get that. But I don't want to be an astronaut in space. I want to play a game and enjoy myself in the thing. And what Starfield has in the plans that it does and the missions that you go to are good. Are they great? No, they're good. But having all those empty planets and having all that stuff, people are like, oh, what a letdown, right? But No Man's Sky did the exact same thing. 18 quintillion planets, and no one gave a lot of shit to that. They're just like, oh my God, 18 quintillion planets. But 17.98 million or quintillion planets don't mean shit in No Man's Sky. Right? So much so that you're literally playing Pokemon on your table inside your starship now than you would actually exploring the planets. You see what I'm saying? So I think Crimson Desert right now, 4 years from now, people will be like, man, I can't believe that's still going. And who knows how they're going to support this game, if they're going to support the game, if it's paid DLC, if it's, live service type of stuff. We'll see what happens with Crimson Desert. Craig says, I played No Man's Sky. It's basically a test engine for Light No Fire. Well, now it is. Yeah, 100%. That's why they continue supporting it, because why make alphas and betas for Light No Fire when you can just put it into No Man's Sky? We've talked about this before. Have a player base test out all the stuff you want to put into Light No Fire. Gives value to No Man's Sky, gives value to the studio, and then when Light No Fire comes out, hopefully it doesn't make the same mistakes. Travis says, I mean, look at Garfield. Starfield? Starfield was perfectly decent game. I was like, Garfield? You're talking about the character now? Crashing on me, once an hour, but still, wait a second. Craig says, Sean Murray talks about how the features of the new No Man's Sky are features they worked on with Light No Fire. Where does he talk about that, Craig? Do you have a link to that? driving. Don't drive. What's wrong with you? Has he said that? Because we've speculated, but I've never seen an article of him saying it. How the fuck is a 2-year-old game still crashing? That's because it's brand new on the PlayStation. It's not 2 years old for you. It's 2 days old for you. All right, what we got here? Let's go. Do we have another? I think, another story. What is this thing that you sent me, Travis? This is what we talked about the other day with Star Wars Eclipse. We talked about this and how the live service game is paying for it. Why do I want to watch this? Is he going to say something different than I said? I guess we could talk about this one. Yeah, I sure did. When we were reading the article yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? We were talking about the Eclipse, and inside the article they said that it's being hurt because they're still working on a live service aspect, the free to play game. And I said, oh, good, Eclipse is being used. They're waiting for this to fund this game, and I talked about how that's bad for the Eclipse game. How many of you in chat are Gen Zers? How many of you guys are Gen Zers in chat? Because I want to know if this is true. Okay. I do know a lot of Gen Xers are not going to the theaters anymore because they've destroyed everything that's from Gen X's childhood. So they're like, why am I going to go to the movies to go watch He-Man and stuff like that? Gen Zers, I believe. Well, let's go look it up. What decade? (1997 to 2012). How many people are from 1997 to 2012? That's Gen Zers. Michelle Ilbisi says, I text my daughter about if she knows anyone who played it, and she said her school janitor spends all his free time in the Cube Save Us. Was he the guy that played for 160 hours and then called it trash? He talks about it all the time, if you tell him anything. I wonder if he's the guy that played 160 hours and then called it trash. It'd be funny if he's a janitor. Waterbear says, nah, Gen Z, nah, I'm 40. So millennial, I'm also going to watch He-Man, especially after hearing Skeletor's voice. We knew they were going to screw that up, Water. We knew they were going to screw that up. Eclipse says, I'm whatever 1990 is. Like, that would be, millennials. I think it's millennials. Nobody here is that age. I'm 45, yeah, 1990. So, yeah. So, a lot of people, we're not in this. So I would love to know if Gen Zers are actually going to the movies more, right? Because I would love to know this because we saw studies where Gen Zers don't work as much, right? Don't make as much money and whatnot, but they're going to the movies more, which I find, I don't know. So I don't know. I haven't read the article, so I don't know how many they've surveyed or whatnot. Okay. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We just cover news stories, have conversations. If you like it, like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. All right, so Gen Z goes to the movies. Younger audiences are driving the box office, studies show. Driving the box office. Let me tell you something. I just went to go see the Mario Galaxy movie. And I can tell you for sure that Gen Zers weren't in the theater. Right? I saw Gen Xers and millennials with their children right? In there. Didn't see any old people, so there wasn't like grandma and grandpa inside the theater that I saw. Okay, but let's see. It says, who says young people don't go to the movies? Right? During the pandemic, Hollywood worried that Gen Zers would never get into the habit of going to theaters, preferring streaming on their smartphones instead. But Gen Z is now the most active cinema-going demographic, attending more films per year than the elders. Elders, we're talking about baby boomers? According to a new Fandango study, they're also spending more per visit on concessions and on premium format screens like IMAX. Okay? It says, what a relief for theater owners who are struggling as overall attendance lags 20% behind COVID years. Exhibitors largely attributed this to the decline of fewer new releases from major Hollywood studios. Fandango surveyed 7,000 people. You surveyed 7,000 people? Okay. 5,091 of them whom consume themselves moviegoers are people who went to one or more movies in the past year. First of all, who's using Fandango as a service, as a survey? I can't tell you the last time I went to Fandango. We don't use Fandango. Nope. Nobody older than Gen Zers are going to Fandango. That's why you surveyed all Gen Zers. They're like, oh, Fandango, right? Nobody's going to Fandango. 7,000, 5,000 of them. Anyway, let's continue. It says, by generation, 87% of the Gen Zers and 82% of millennials saw at least one movie theatrically in the past 12 months, compared to 70% of Gen Zers and 58% of baby boomers, right? First of all, I've seen, let's see, I watched Superman. I watched Fantastic Four. I watched the Mario movie. I watched the Sonic movie that came out. I watched, what else did we see? There was we watched the Bible movie last year. I forget what it was. I forget which one it was. There was like a couple of them. I saw like, I want to say 7 or 8 movies in theaters last year. 7 or 8. By generation, 87% of Gen Zers went to go see one or more movies past year. Great. Congratulations. Should have surveyed me. Right? Gen Zer and millennials also return more frequently, with each demo averaging about 7 visits per year. Hey, ahead of Gen Xers 6.1 and baby boomers 5.7. Look at me. I'm above the average. I'm above the average. What is this? Motivations vary across age groups. Millennials treat moviegoing as an escape from daily routine, while Gen Zers see primarily as a social activity. That's what we did when we were kids. You would go to the theater and hang out in the theater, right? Hence why I love theaters. Hence why I don't want to see theaters close. Hence why when you get to the age of taking a girl out or taking a boy out and you want to go on a date, you go to the movies. You go miniature golfing, you go to the movies, you go to, you know what I mean? Like you go places where you can like hang out, see something, have a conversation, take them out to dinner and stuff. You know what I mean? For God's sakes. So many people are not going to have their first experience, if you know what I mean, in the theater. Gen Z also attributes better selection of movies and appeal of leaving the home as a key drivers of attendance. How many, they need to do another survey, chat. How many Gen Zers have a driver's license? Right? Because I'm pretty sure none of them drive. None of them drive. Or is that the next group after? I forget. I don't know. Let's see. Gen Xers sees rising ticket prices, fewer appealing releases, and better at-home options as reasons for going less often. I totally understand that because I'm a Gen Xer. While there has been a perception of Gen Z is less engaged with theatrical moviegoing, our data shows that the momentum has been building. Okay, Executive Vice President of Fandango, you've only surveyed 7,000 people. What's especially notable is how strongly they value the shared community aspect of the experience, reinforcing that the theaters continue to play an important role of social destination for younger audiences. Across all demographics, the biggest barrier to get off the couch wasn't the movies themselves. Patrons cited coordinating schedules, finding times and securing a deal on tickets, and challenges in getting to the multiplex. That's what I'm talking about, right? So moviegoers are finding it's finding the time to deal on tickets as a challenge in getting to the multiplex. Do you guys remember the time when you went to the theater and let's say you had 5 friends and you're like, we'll meet at the theater, and you happen to get there early? You would do this. You would hold on. Let me go to the main right. You would like throw a sweater on a chair. You would sit there like this. Someone comes up. Oh, no. These are taken. These are taken. Right. What are we talking about? Right. They're fighting to deal the tickets. You can literally just go seat saved. I'm gonna take 3 seats. Save. You walk in and you're like, those are my seats. It's amazing now. I love it. I don't have to like sprawl across the chairs to try to save anything for anybody, right? You just walk in and you're like, that's my seat. They don't even know. This is like one of those stories of I used to walk to school backwards uphill in the snow, barefoot, type of things. Right? And to get to the multiplex, they have problems getting to the multiplex. I'm telling you, they don't own cars. They don't own cars. Maybe that's why they're going to the movies more, because they don't have to pay for car insurance, house insurance, buying a house, pay for their own groceries or anything like that. They're still mooching off mom and dad is what I think what's happening. As a movie-going landscape continues to evolve, understating generational behavior is critical to unlock the future growth. No. Know what it is? Make a movie, sell a movie. No, just tell good stories. Just tell good stories. It's not about how am I going to bring these people in? Good stories. People back in the day didn't draw pictures on a cave wall because they were just telling a story. And people are like, oh, fire, right? Like, just tell a good story. You don't have to change it for the modern day audience. Just tell a good story. Hayline says that Gen Z and millennials are redefining what it means to go to the movies by prioritizing premium experiences, social engagement, and new forms of content. Meeting them where they are isn't optional. It's essential to the future of theatrical moviegoing. So basically make a shitty movie, TikTok-like, and they'll go and see it. Although the first quarter of 2026 has greatly improved from last year's summer, will really heat up the box office, with 76% of moviegoers reportedly planning on seeing a movie in theaters between May and August. According to Fandango, finding Toy Story 5 is the most anticipated movie of the popcorn season, followed by Spider-Man Brand New Day, The Devil Wears Prada 2, and Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey and Scary Movie 6. First of all, I used to just go to the theater. I would literally just walk to the theater. I wasn't like, I'm going to plan to see this movie today. I would literally go to a theater and go, what's playing? That looks good. I would see multiple movies. When I was their age, okay, I would go to multiple movies a day. I would spend all day at the theater. I go from one to the next to the next. I loved movies. I guarantee you a small percentage is doing what I did back then. They'll be lucky if they go to 2 movies a year. I went to 5 movies in a day. Right? I'll probably see, we'll see Toy Story 5 in theaters for sure. I'll see Spider-Man Brand New Day in theaters. We probably won't watch Devil Wears Prada 2. Prada 1 was good. Christopher Nolan, I'll go see in theaters for sure. Scary Movie, probably not. I'll probably wait for that to come on to television before I see that. So I'm seeing 3 movies there, right? Already saw. I'm probably gonna go see Mando and Grogu because I think we're gonna do something with Wizard. Wizard's gonna see it, so I think we might do a show with him. I got to reach out to him, and same with Greg, right? Dune Part 3. I got to see Dune Part 2 still. I haven't seen that one. I saw the first one, didn't see the second one, right? Of course, I'm biased. I love theaters. There's 2 things I would open up in my life. Actually, 3. If I had to open up a business, there's 3 things I would open up in life. I would open up a coffee place. I would open up a miniature golf place, and I would open up a movie theater. Not a megaplex, just a 4 movie theaters, small theaters, right? I would love to own a theater. Right? Because I like to throw money at stuff. Titan says Scary Movie beats Mando top 5. What's happening outside right now? My dog is. He does not like whoever's back there. Who is out there? Sorry. Trying to see because might be a guy delivering a package. He's better. He's better than a doorbell. He really is. All right. Let's see what you guys are saying. That or the Meta Quest 3. I would love to buy a Meta Quest 3, but not in the cards anytime soon. Not in the cards anytime soon. They might come out with a Meta Quest 4 before I get a 3. I'm still saving up for the PC once the PC prices go down and whatnot. PC first, then the next purchase might be a Meta Quest 3. Cisco says, I watched Dune Part 1 on my VR headset. That revealed the theater experience, or rival of theater experience. I love watching YouTube and stuff on my Meta Quest 2. You should buy a small dog for Thor and name him Loki. Yeah. That's the only reason I want to. Has anyone tried those the glasses? There's the regular glasses that you can see the screen without getting a Meta Quest. Just the Ray-Ban ones or anything like that. Anyone seen that? I tried them in the store. They seem pretty good. My problem is, even when you put them on, even if you put the shade things on the back end so you don't see through the glasses, you still have the openings around. You know what I mean? I like the headset when you put it in, you're in it. You know what I mean? Like you're in watching that. Oh yeah, they said the quality isn't on par with the Meta Quest, but it's still good. They're like $300. See, I'd rather get the Meta Quest than the just the glasses. I feel like I would get more use out of the Meta Quest than I would the glasses. Yeah, man, that's a good idea. All right, what else we got going on here? 12 o'clock. Sorry. Elden Ring Game Keycard Edition is $80 on the Switch 2. Uh-oh, OBS has got an update. I'll do that afterwards. Oh, that's why my dog's barking. He hears a siren. He hears a police siren or a fire truck. So he's trying to match, you know what dogs do. They try to match the tone. That's pretty funny. I don't know. Do you think in their ears it hurts their ears and that's why they howl? Or do you think that it hits the pitch and they think another dog is howling? James Bond could have prevented Call of Duty from ever existing. Here's how. Okay. We should probably wait till tonight to read that. I'm going to wait till tonight to read that. We're going to put that into our Discord. It's an IGN article. We're going to put that and we'll read that tonight. Little tease for you, chat. Yeah, 80, 84. Yeah, right here. Let me find it again. Elden Ring Game Key Card Edition Switch 2 up for pre-order, $80. $80. $80 for a shittier experience. $80. I guess if you don't have an Xbox or a PlayStation or a PC, I guess that's what it is. I don't know if they get. I don't think they do. Jesus. Pre-order for 109. 109, I think, gets you. What do you get with this one? You get the deep customizable combat, new starting class, new playable friendly enhancements. Like, what are we? 109. Oh, that's Canadian. That's Canadian. That's why. What is happening? $80. Massive open world, deep customizable combat, new character classes. I don't think you get the expansions. I don't think you get the expansions. I think it's just the game. What do we? My son loves his Nintendo Switch too. He loves it. He plays a lot, but I haven't touched it. Besides playing with him on Mario Kart, and what else did we play? We played one other game, right? I don't play it. Oh, those of you that are fans of One Piece, I mean, I've never watched One Piece, not one minute, and I might get this because I love Lego pirate ships. I love Lego pirate ships. There you go. It's a $180. $180 right now. $80 for Elden Ring. How many years old is Elden Ring now? 4? That's crazy. Meanwhile, you could buy Elden Ring PlayStation 5 for $19 on Woot. $19 on PlayStation 5 or on the Nintendo Switch. Oh, okay. It does say it. Switch 2 with expansion DLC for $80. Okay, for $80. So there you go. $80 includes the expansions. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, we just saw it. Still, Brain, you can buy Elden Ring right now on your old system for less than $20. Albion Online, that comes out soon. Illinois DLC, American Truck Simulator. First thing my son saw when he saw this, I said, hey, they did an upgrade to No Man's Sky. He looked at it and said, I said, look, they did a Pokemon update. He's like, that's not Pokemon. That's Star Wars. Because he saw the table. He's like, they just put the Star Wars game inside of No Man's Sky. I said, yeah, but it's Pokemon. He's like, I think it's more Star Wars. I was like, okay. Action movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark, GoldenEye, Matrix have some of the best, most perfect opening scenes in genre history. Yeah, because they were actually good movies back then. And they had good stories. All right. Yeah, it's a little expensive for Nintendo. All right, chat. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back tonight for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. If you guys like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We'll be back, like I said, for GXG tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live on Twitch. We'll be live on Twitter as well. So come on by, come on, hang out, share the link for tonight's show as well. We do like doing the Generation X gaming show. I think it's episode 485, I think, tonight. So we're 15 episodes away, 15 weeks basically away from our 500th episode. I'm not really too sure what we're going to be doing. Maybe nothing. It'll just be another show, 500, but we'll see. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.
But every time I pull the trigger, it's like ghosts in the smoke. No suppression, no pressure, this ain't the old code. Grinding all night for that scope I need. But every upgrade feels like I'm planting seeds in concrete. Yeah, battlefield's back, but fix it please. Hey, hey. Battlefield's right, hey, hey. But fix it please. Hit detections while bring it to its knees. Maps look good, but don't play right. Every flank turns into a fire with light. Still we're storming through the fire and steel. Cause damn, it finally feels real. Battlefield's back, but fix it please. Smooth launch, yeah, I can't believe my eyes. Call of Duty players jumping in, switching sides. Jet flybys, tanks on parade. But these spawn points got me feeling betrayed. I want that chaos, that old school thrill. Not running 10 miles just to die on a hill. So patch it up, dice, we know you can. Don't lose your soul to the same old plan. Yeah, battlefield's back, but fix it please. Battlefield's back, but fix it please. Hit detections while bring it to its knees. Maps look good, but don't play right. Every flank turns into a fire with light. Still we're storming through the fire and steel. Cause damn, it finally feels real. Battlefield's back, but fix it please. Battlefield's back, but fix it please. Now they're talking about a BR mode. Dropping in hot, another heavy load. We've seen it done, we've seen it fail. Don't chase the trend, stay on the rail. Keep it battlefield, large scale fights. Don't trade the war for battle lights. We want squads, not loot box dreams. Stay true to the chaos, not stream of memes. From 2D42 scars we rise. Learn the pain, now we're wise. Portals back, but man it's a chore. Gotta dig through the trash to find the goal we adore. So here's to the soldiers, the fans who stay. Through every bug, every broken grenade. We're back in the fight, yeah we won't leave. Just tighten that spread and let us breathe. Yeah, battlefield's